2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Scarborough or download the Revo Fitness app. RevoFitness.com.au or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.
This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
We discussed the AFL in the first 2 games of the season just early this morning, but we didn't discuss the fact that I think it was an absolute fizzer having just a couple of states be involved in this opening round.
Well, this is what I said a couple of weeks ago and nobody backed me in.
You're a visionary, Nat. You're a visionary. Couldn't see it at the time. Now it's here.
When we were talking to Brownie, actually, I said it is the O-round is a bit of a fizzer. Unless your team is involved, it's just like, the season starts with a sort of rather just a hiccup rather than a fanfare. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and obviously everybody knows that around Australia, the AFL decided to do that because the Rugby League went to Vegas and they thought that they'd be able to get all the attention from Queensland and also New South Wales. But there were still games of Rugby League in New South Wales and not Queensland, but over the weekend. So they didn't get all the attention.
No.
And does it really matter? If they're still going to get 40,000 at the SCG anyway to watch the Sydney Swans play that game against Hawthorn. But what you didn't get is the other states participate. And I was listening to Lee Montagna on Fox yesterday, and he was talking about the fact that it was Michael Voss who brought this up. You could have 2 games in WA, West Coast and Fremantle playing.
Yes.
So you're guaranteed to get close to 100,000 people here. South Australia, the same. You could play their games, the weather stopped it, but the Queensland situation. But you could have played games in Canberra for North Melbourne, and had the whole of Australia being part of opening round of AFL football, not just the 10 games.
I think it's a missed opportunity, and you because you're kind of sticking it to your heartland.
You are
to the where you are going to get bums on seats guaranteed, and it's like it just feels like you're kind of disrespecting the people that serve you the most.
Yeah, I think I really got to look at this. What do you think, Caitlin?
Yeah, I think last year it was a bit of a bust and fans weren't super happy. So why repeat it again this season when the feedback wasn't great?
It's a really good point. Last year, people didn't even realise the season had started. No. They thought there were practice matches in some cases. And it's like, no, that was it. That was for points. It started. And it's like, what?
And isn't that the point? Like, start the season with a bang. Like, you want footies back. Every single day you turn on the TV.
Yeah.
Like, I want to watch the footy. I don't care who plays. But, I was busy on Friday, so I didn't get to watch. Saturday, nothing on.
Yeah, that's because of the cyclone.
Yeah, and Sunday as well. But I just don't understand. As well, teams are preparing for that round 1. Imagine sitting there and watching everyone else play.
I know.
Eagles and Dockers and the Adelaide team, boring.
And having to go and do match sim or something on the weekend when the season's actually started. It's weird.
Yeah, and the other point to that is the teams that have the opening round games, they get the extra bye. So they get 2 byes during the season. We saw with Sydney and Brisbane in particular last year who played that opening round. Yeah. They were in the top 2 teams that finished the season.
Yeah.
And injuries play are quite relevant. And obviously with Sydney, there was one team that they looked at. I mean, Brisbane were hampered by injuries before the season started because they had all those knee injuries. But Sydney, they went through and played all those games. They had hardly any injuries for the whole year. And it set them up to play in a grand final.
Yeah.
Granted, they lost again.
But still, I know, it'd be nice to be there, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's a really good point. And is the answer, why don't they do gather round as the opening round?
That's not a bad way of doing things. The gather round's a great success. I know it has its time because of school holidays and stuff. Welcome there. But Nat.
But people would go anyway. People are going to go anyway.
But honestly, if you have games and you take most of the games out of Victoria and only have 1 or 2 and have them all around Australia, you don't have to worry about 2 states being involved. You've got the whole of the place, front and square, news services, all the newspapers.
And everybody's team's playing.
And everyone's playing.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Lots to be said for it. All right. So who do we call? Make some change.
Actually, Andrew Dillon, who's the CEO of the AFL, he's coming over here for the Derby, which is in 3 weeks' time. We'll see if we can get him in here.
Throw a bag over his head and get him in here. Sure. He won't know what's happening, but he's going to love it.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
So the footy season finally got underway after the cyclone in Queensland put a halt to Thursday night football.
Yeah.
We saw it get underway when Hawthorn and Sydney went head-to-head at the SCG on Friday night. Hawthorn are the real deal.
They are.
They really are.
They legit are.
I thought after last year, and this happens a lot to some teams, so you have a peak season.
Yeah, and there was so much hype towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
you know, the whole
enormous.
hawk ball thing, and everybody was, really getting into it. And you go, oh, yeah, that's, going to die down a bit. But no.
No, it certainly didn't. And the fact that they brought in Battle and also Tom Barrass into their team as defence really helped their lineup in a big way. I was wondering, the reason why a lot of teams have that spike is because they're underrated and they come into the competition and they're underrated and they're able to pinch a few wins, gather some momentum along the journey. Nobody really takes them that seriously and they end up having a good season.
Yeah.
The following year, people go, oh, we better put some work into that team and take them a bit more seriously. And then they normally have a bit of a
blip.
A blip on the radar before they kick up again. And I thought that would be the case for Hawthorn. I'm a believer now.
Yeah.
I think they've got the lineup to really challenge most teams and taking care of Sydney, Dean Cox's first game at the helm, Nat, at home was a good effort.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
It was. Following up yesterday, it was the GWS Giants giving Collingwood an absolute bath in their game. A lot of people tipped Collingwood in this one.
Not me. I picked the Giants, but I also picked Sydney. So,
okay. Well, they're
50-50.
Home games. The one thing that happened during the game was that Adam Kingsley is the coach of GWS and Craig McRae, who's the coach of Collingwood, were both down on the boundary line. One of the stories of the day was the fact that Toby Bedford was tagging Nick Dacos, Collingwood's best player.
Yes.
And Nick was having a bit of a tough time with Toby. He was doing such a great job. And they both ran off at the same time, and it looked like Fly McRae, Collingwood's coach, started mouthing off towards Toby Bedford, and Adam Kingsley jumped in and told him, you better sit down,
pull your head in, mate.
Pull your head in, you better sit down. Straight away at the press conferences afterwards, everyone was blowing it up, and no one wanted to speak about the game itself, so it was quite frustrating to both coaches.
Yes.
And they're suggesting that the AFL are going to look into this because their behaviour on the sidelines.
Because... So who's more at fault, do you think?
Well, if someone's at fault, which I don't think anybody is because it's a game of footy, it's Craig McRae who started mouthing off before to
a player.
Adam Kingsley, jumped in and said, pull your bloody head in and sit down, mate. He said it twice. This is James Hird having his say.
It's good for the game. I mean, does anyone really get upset watching that? No one was hurt. It's a bit of theatre, and I think those two guys know each other reasonably well, and they were just having a word. No problem.
Yeah. It gets so sterile, doesn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's nobody got hurt in that. That's fine.
No. It happened last year, obviously, with the Port Adelaide coach getting involved on the field and stuff like that, getting back to Jack Ginnivan. But, this is what adds to the game itself. And when you start coming down on people and maybe the AFL issue a fine or something, I just reckon it's stupid.
Caution maybe, but I mean, it's an interesting way to start. Seemed to be a lot of cramp going on yesterday. Did you notice that?
Yeah, it doesn't matter how long your pre-season is, how much running you do.
And Nick Dacos was one of them. Like he was really, it's like his whole body was cramping yesterday.
Yeah.
They couldn't get enough pickle juice into him.
No, and you see the guys on the sidelines giving him the pickle juice. I will say on that, Nat, the umpires stopped the game at one stage because he had cramp. That's not an issue to stop the game at all.
No, it's not.
You can't do that.
No.
The GWS Giants, it was a kick in. They should have been able to play on and take the game on.
100%.
And then giving Collingwood the right away there.
Yeah, that seems
poor
wrong.
effort straight away.
Is that just Nick Dacos tax? Is that what that is?
Yes, I reckon it is for sure. Bad call by the umpires. We're looking forward to seeing the GWS Giants, I think, having a really big season.
They're a real deal too.
It's interesting to see how
that was without Jesse Hogan too.
Yeah, they were missing a couple yesterday. Yeah. People thought that Collingwood might be a team to be reckoned with. They were missing a couple as well, but... they might be in a bit of strife, Collingwood. Their midfield got caned.
Jeez, we hate to see that. Thanks, Shaun.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.
2 words, Revo Fitness. Here's a few more. Simple, 24/7, Reformer Pilates, body scanners, massage chairs, squat racks, free weights, pin and plate loaded equipment, no lock-in contracts, no bullshit. All of that and more from just $9.69 a week. That's surprisingly affordable. Join now at Revo Fitness Scarborough or download the Revo Fitness app. RevoFitness.com.au or find the Revo Fitness app in the App Store.